Welcome, I'm Joyce. This is Yoga at the Senior Center. If you haven't already found a comfortable seat on your mat, please do. You can sit on a blanket, you can hop up on a block, pillow, whatever you have. So, let's begin with reminding all of you that if at any point I suggest a posture that is not comfortable, find one that is, or modify that posture. So we just don't want anyone pushing beyond their edge. Just be happy with where you are on your mat today. So let's begin with our breath. Stop and just notice your own natural flow. You can put a hand on your chest, one on your belly, and breathe. Now begin to deepen your breath. Try and inhale all the way to your belly and hold that breath there for a few moments before you use your diaphragm to push all of that air out. Pause and begin all over again. So not only do I want you to think about your breath, I want you to listen to it. You can hear it as it passes through your throat. Your breath can sound like ocean waves or the wind blowing through the trees. So as we practice today, try and stay attuned to the sounds, sensations, and balanced flow of your breath. Bring our hands to heart center, thumbs to the sternum, and now raising your fingertips to your third eye, symbolizing that heart-mind connection. Now as you continue to breathe, ground, and center, take a few moments to reflect on why you've come to your mat today. What is your intention and your inner purpose? Today's quote is from the Dalai Lama. Do not let the behavior of others destroy your inner peace. Hands at heart. Let's inhale up into upward salute. And now exhaling as we lower our hands. Again, inhaling up Exhaling down. One more time, hands at heart center. Inhaling up, and now separating your palms, beginning to wiggle your fingers, turn your wrists, reverse, starting to engage your elbows and your shoulders, and then reversing, just trying to get the synovial fluid moving in those joints. Now come to stillness, bring your little fingers in, and now out, in, and out. One more time, in, and then make fist, and open, fist, and open. One more time, fist, and open. Interlace your fingers, stretch your palms to the sky, take a breath. And now lower your arms to shoulder height, stretching, arching your back. Breathe. And now come back up to set, palms together, and open your shoulders or your arms wide until you feel your shoulders on your back. Again, raising arms high, interlacing, and this time let's bring your palms to the back of your neck. Raise your chin and your chest, and just breathe, relax. Palms to the sky, lowering one more time to shoulder height, arching your back. And now coming to upright, shoulders up, down, and back. And again, up, down, and back. Now choose a hand, place it about 6 inches out from your hip, raise the other to the sky, and just stretch. And now bending your grounded hands, elbow, lean in that direction. Straighten your elbow, open your chest to the sky, feeling your shoulder blades on your back. Just breathe. Come to upright, and now we're going to move into a twist. So bringing your upstretched hand to the opposite knee, grounded hand behind, gaze over your shoulder, relax, breathe. Now with an inhale, raise that grounded hand and lean in the opposite direction. Choose your drishti. Now unwind, shoulders up, down, and back. One more time, up, down, and back. Now it's time to change. Ground your hand, raise the other to the sky, stretch, breathe. Now bending the elbow of the grounded hand. Just lean in that direction. And again, choosing your drishti. It can be at your upstretched hand, out at the horizon, or turn and look down. Straighten your elbow, open your chest. Back to upright, and now it's time for the twist. Upstretched hand to your knee, grounded hand behind, gazing over your shoulder. Inhaling with the grounded hand up, leaning in the opposite direction. Unwind, shoulders up, down, and back. One more time, up, down, and back. I'm gonna come off my blanket. Bring my knees in for a hug, finding that area of balance on your sit bones. Our next posture is boat. So you can stay right here for your boat if you want to, or you can bring your arms out and your feet at shoulder height, or if you choose, you can bring your arms high and your legs high, and just breathe. Now let's fold, coming back to upright, and now forward fold. I'm just gonna kind of sway down. This fold can be wherever you want it to be. It's all about your comfort. I like to come all the way down and just rest a cheek on the ground. Stay and breathe. And now, coming back with a sway, finding upright, and bringing my hands behind, fingertips to the back, leaning back. My hands are probably at least a foot, maybe a little further from my sit bones. I'm making a diagonal line from my shoulders to my knees. Raise your chest and your chin, and just let your head rest in the cradle you've made with your shoulder blades. Stay and breathe. If you'd like, you can come up on your knees, or not. And now let's slide back to upright and make one more trip into our forward fold. Stay and breathe. Coming back to set, shoulders up, down, and back. Make our way to table. Table, your wrists are under your shoulders, knees under hips. I usually start in a sway, but let's come to stillness. Take a breath, and now exhale into cat, dropping your head and your tail, letting your back arch to the sky. Now inhale as you raise your head and your tail and let your belly drop. Repeat. Exhaling into cat. Inhaling into cow. One more time. Okay. Now we're going to find spinal balance. So start with bringing your left foot out, curling your toes under, and just push. Just kind of trying to stretch out the sole of my foot. And now I'm going to raise my left leg and my right arm. Thumb up. Take a breath. And now bring your elbow and your knee together. And come back out. Take a breath. In and out. Let's do that one more time. Elbow to knee and stretching out. Lower that hand and knee. Raise your left, stretching your right leg back, curling your toes under, and now raising your leg up. So take a breath. Elbow to knee, stretching out. Again, elbow to knee, stretching out. One more time. Now round our hands. Let's come back into child's pose. Just set bones on heels. This is an extended child. Rest your head. Know that you can always use a block here. Now we're going to come up on your forearms and then straighten your arms into a cow. Exhaling as you arch your back into cat and come back to child's pose for a breath. Coming forward on your forearms, straightening your arms into a cow, arching your back into a cat, back to child for a breath. One more time. Arching your back and back to child's pose. Okay, curl your toes under and come up into our first down dog of the day. So let's find some movement. We're going to bend our right knee and then our left. Again, right and left. Come up on your toes and then lower your heels towards the mat. Just stretch your sit bones to the sky. And now traveling forward, right leg followed by the left. Finding yourself in a modified halfway lift, let's move into a fold, but let's make it a ragdoll. So opposite hand to opposite elbow, just doing a ragdoll sway here. Now come to stillness and let's swan dive up and touch. Add a little back bend and then bringing your hands down to come up in a mountain pose. Stay, breathe, and ground. And we'll continue with our practice. So down to go up. Exhaling as we add our back bend and swan diving into a forward fold. Right leg back, followed by the left, finding yourself in a downward facing dog. Again, let's find some movement. We're going to bend our right knee, then our left. Again, with right and left, coming up on your toes, but this time, let's pivot and lower your foot in a diagonal. It's probably about a 45. We're gonna do a down dog dip, which is just bending your knees basically. So we're gonna bend until we touch and come back up. Let's do that again. Bending in our dip and coming back up. Back up on your toes, pivoting around. Finding your down dog again, stretching your sit bones to the sky. Let's raise your right leg high, pointing your toe, flexing your foot, pointing your toe, flexing your foot. And now bring that foot forward between your hands, followed by the left, finding yourself in that modified halfway lift, coming into your fold. And let's just breathe here for a second. And now let's breathe up and touch in our upward salute. Add a mini back bend. And now bringing your arms down to go up as you bend your knees deeply in a chair pose. You should be able to look down and see your toes. Let's take a breath here. And now lower your hands to prayer position. Take a couple breaths before we move on. And now turning to the right, we're turning our chair into a twisting chair. Now bending at the waist, placing your left elbow on the outside of your right thigh. Your drishti can be off at the horizon, over the top of your elbow. Those choices are yours. Now it's time to change, so let's ground our left hand, raise our right, straighten your right knee, just changing our twist up. Lower your right hand. Could have used our blocks there. Let's step back with your right leg. And you're gonna find some movement in this lunge. So right hand down, back, up, and over. Trying to find a diagonal line from your hand to the back of your foot. Just stay here and breathe. And now drop both hands, framing that front foot and your knee. Straighten your back foot out and come up into devotion pose. And just stay in our devotion pose and breathe. And now if you'd like to, reach back and see if you can clasp your foot with your hand. You can reach with your opposite hand, place it on your knee, ground it, and actually, if you want to try with a strap for this, it really does feel good. So try that if you want to. And unhook myself. Okay, now curl your toes under. Bring left foot to meet right. Stretch those sit bones to the sky. And again, we're going to find movement. So, right knee bends, followed by the left, right and left, up on your toes, and now we're gonna pivot, but we're gonna pivot until heel meets toe. Stretch your sit bones again to the sky, and then walk your left hand forward about a palm print. Come forward. Raise your right hand to the sky in a side plank. You can always take your knee in this position. So let's stay for one more breath. Lower your right hand, find a plank, find your knees. Coming back, we're gonna do a child's pose, but it's gonna be with prayer hands. So lower your elbows to the mat, lower your head, palms together over your head. Stay and breathe. Okay, let's come up, hands to the mat, curling your toes under, coming up into down dog, raising that right leg high, pointing your toes, flexing your foot. Again, pointing and flexing. Now bringing your foot forward between your hands. Left foot follows right. Finding yourself in that halfway lift. And coming into your fold. Stop and breathe. Swan diving up, adding a back bend, and now bringing hands down to come to prayer. Our resting breath today is just up for upward salute and exhaling down. Let's do that again, up for upward salute and exhaling down. Let's do a little bit of twist and slap. Add our monkey stretches. And now we're going to think about balance. So, hands to heart here. And we're going to begin by finding the four corners of our left foot. And breathe. Coming up on the ball of your right foot. And now raising your knee. Now let's see if we can open our arms up and step back into a warrior two. Not quite what I planned, but hey, we're there. Gazing over your left fingertips, hopefully your torso is over your hips. Stay, breathe, ground. Now left hand to left thigh, right hand overhead, and now at a diagonal over your head. This is lateral angle pose. Okay, right hand to right thigh, left hand above. Still have a bend in your knee. Majestic warrior. And now, let's reach down, grab our blocks, and turn to the other side of our mat, beginning at the top. Let's do a little twist and slap. Couple monkey stretches. Maybe a couple resting breaths. Inhaling up, exhaling down. One more time to inhale up and exhale down. Finding ourselves in mountain pose with hands at heart center. Okay, arms down to go up. Add our back bend. Swan dive forward fold. Left foot back, followed by the right. Finding yourself in your downward facing dog. Take a breath. Finding movement. Bending your right knee. And then your left. Again, right and left. Coming up on your toes. And now pivoting on those toes to place your feet down at about a 45-degree angle for down dog dip. Take a breath, bend your knees until they touch, and come back up. Let's do that again, coming into our dip and coming back up. Rising to the balls of your feet, and now lowering your heels towards the mat again, sit bones to the sky. One more breath, and then raise your left foot high. Point your toe, flex your heel. Again, pointing and flexing. Take a breath, bring that foot forward between your hands. Right foot follows. Find our forward fold. Just let your back traction out here a little bit. Take a couple breaths, relax. And now we're going to come up and touch. Add our back bend. Begin bending your knees and bringing your arms up for your chair. Take a breath here, and then bring your hands to prayer at heart center. Breathe. And now turning our chair into a twist, twisting to the left, bending at the waist. Right elbow on the outside of your left thigh. Stay and breathe. Dropping your right hand, straightening your left leg, raising your left arm. Change your twist up a bit. Stay and breathe, knowing that you can use your block. Let's drop your hand, bring that left leg back for a lunge. And again, using your blocks if you choose. But we're going to start with some movement here. Bringing your left hand back, up, and over. Making that diagonal line from our fingertips to our heel. Stay and breathe. Drop your hand, drop your knee, flatten out your foot, arms to the sky for devotion, breathing. now if you choose, raising that left foot, seeing if you can clasp it. Stay and breathe. Releasing. Now, right foot meets left. Curl your toes under and coming up into downward facing dog. Couple breaths here. Start finding our movement. Right knee bends, left knee bends. Again, right and left. Come up on your toes. And now we pivot. Pivot until your heel almost touches your toes. Placing your right hand out about a handprint and raising up with your left. Finding yourself in a one-arm plank. Stay, breathe. Know you can come to your knee. And now lowering that hand, finding your plank. Stay for breath. Now lower to your knees, coming back for child's pose. But remember, prayer position. Elbows out, hands over your neck. Stay and breathe. Coming up into table, curling your toes under, finding your downward facing dog. Let's take a breath as we stretch here. Raising your left foot high, pointing your toes, flexing your heel. Again, to point and flex. Now bring your left foot forward, followed by the right. Finding yourself in that modified halfway lift. Let's fold, breathe. And now swan diving up to touch, adding our back bend, hands to heart for twist and slap. Let's do some monkey stretches. Adding our resting breath. Inhaling up, exhaling down, and now coming to stillness. Placing your weight in your right foot, knowing where those four corners are. Coming up to the ball of your left foot. Let's raise your knee. Open your arms and see if we can come back into our warrior two. Gazing over your right fingertips. Torso over hips, gazing down, seeing your big toe. Stay and breathe. And now, right forearm on right thigh, bringing your left arm overhead, making that diagonal line. Stay and breathe in your lateral angle pose. And now we change. Left arm to left thigh, right hand overhead, and majestic warrior. Stay and breathe. Okay, let's windmill our hands down, turning that back toe under, coming up on the ball of your foot, bringing right to meet left, finding yourself in a plank pose. Stay and take a couple breaths in your plank. And now make your way to the mat. We're going to come up into a back bend. You can choose. It can be low cobra, just bringing your shoulder blades together on your back, or grounding your hands and coming up into a traditional cobra. You can bring your hands out in front of you, elbows under shoulders, or Sphinx. Or hands under shoulders and coming up into up dog. You can stay up on the tops of your feet. You can lower to your knees. Choice is yours. Let's stay and breathe. Lowering back to the mat, stacking your forearms, resting your head, and swaying your hips. Next posture, locust. So arms stretched out. Many different ways to do this pose, as with most yoga poses, but we're going to take a breath and raise our right arm and left leg. Breathe here. And lower. Now, left arm, right leg. Breathe. Lower. And now both arms and legs. For full locust or superwoman pose, stay and breathe. And now come down. We're going to try bow. So, bringing your right hand back to clasp your right foot and your left clasp your left foot. You can stay and rock. Come to stillness. Choice is yours. So let's release. Come back to child's pose for a counter stretch. Choose your pose. You can stay here in child's posture 2 or bring your hands back by your feet for 1. And breathe. Okay, let's come up. Bring your feet out in front of you. You need to find staff pose. So stretch your arms to the sky. And now come into a fold. Doesn't make any difference how far, as long as you're comfortable. Stay and breathe. And let's roll up and do a little bit of twisting here. And switch. Now I'm going to have you bend your knees and make Make sure your sit bones are about in the center of your mat. Bring your forearms down to the mat, and then slide on down to your back. Place your feet out to the sides of your mat. Knees are teepeed together. Opposite hand to opposite shoulder. And our first release pose. Just stay and breathe, relax. Now change. Hands to hips, feet to sit bones. Time for forward pelvic tilt. So, starting with rocking up on your tailbone, which raises the small of your back off the mat, and now lower the small of your back to the mat and raise up into bridge. Once you're comfortable with your bridge, raise your right leg. Stay for a breath. And now lower and roll on down. Repeat, rocking forward, rocking back, rolling up. Left foot to the sky. Stay, breathe. And now lower that foot and roll on down. One more time. Rocking forward, rocking back, rolling up. And this time, just roll your shoulders underneath you and see if you can clasp your hands. Stay for a couple breaths. Let's come down. Bring your knees in for a hug. You can rock back and forth if you want to. Now, let's do happy baby. Just bring your hands to the outsides of your feet. I like to rock in happy baby and move my feet. You don't have to. You can stay stationary if you want to, but I think this feels good. So, let's reverse it if you're moving with me. And now come to stillness. Take a breath. Lower your feet to the mat. And now we'll move into our hamstring stretch. So, leaving your left foot on the mat, raising your right to the sky. Start to give that leg a massage as you bring it forward. And now lower your left leg to the mat. And raise your head as if to touch your knee. Take a breath. Drop your head. Take another breath there. Now we're going to start knee down twist. So, heel to sit bones, left hand on right knee, right hand out in a T, and that is where your gaze will be, is to the right. But bring your right leg across your body and knee down twist. Just stay and breathe. Now coming back to the mat, both footprints to the mat. Now place your right ankle on your left knee. And now raise your feet interlacing your fingers on your shin or on your thigh. Some people like to come into a figure 4 here. Do whatever feels good to you. So, let's release, and we'll switch sides, grounding your right foot, raising your left, beginning to massage that leg, bringing it towards your face as you lower the right leg to the mat. Let's take a breath. Raise your head towards your knee. Breathe. Lower. Stay here for a moment. And now we're going to go into our twist. So left hand out in a T. Right heel. Left heel to left sit bones. And right hand on your knee. And let's begin to guide that left leg across your body. Stay and breathe. Unwind both footprints to the mat. And now raising your left, placing your left ankle on your right knee. Reaching with your left hand through the window of your legs to clasp your hands together on your shin, on your thigh, or coming into figure 4. Stay, breathe, relax. And now release. Footprints together for bound angle. Fingertips in Trimutri Mudra, placing them over your abdomen, embracing all of life's changes. Stay and breathe. Now stretching out for your Shavasana. You can take your Shavasana in corpse pose. You can curl up in a fetal position. You can drag your mat to the wall for legs up the wall. Wherever you choose, if you'd like, put on socks or a sweater because we'll be here for a few moments, minutes. This time is for you. to sit yet, please roll to one side or the other, using your opposite arm to bring yourself up. Or you can cross your legs and rock and roll up. That's totally up to you. Let's take a breath. Bring our hands to heart center. Inhale one breath for the heart. One breath for the mind. And one breath for the spirit. Hands to heart, Sat Nam, Namaste. Always remembering to find the beauty in the perfectly imperfect. Thank you.